Welcome back, Doug Pagitt Radio, 11:50, 10 minutes before the hour, here broadcasting live on Sunday, January 3rd, 2010. Doug Pagitt Radio, religious radio that's not quite right. We end each one of the hours with a right-on segment where I talk about things that are right in the world, that are good, that try to encourage people to think about those. And I had a caller a couple of weeks ago, and he called back again today, Jim in Minneapolis. And he called in on the caller line. I've forgotten this entire program to mention the caller line, 952-946-6205. You can also get that over at DougPagittRadio.com if you're an internet person. If you're just listening on a regular good old-fashioned radio, nothing wrong with that. Give us a call over at 952-946-6205. Well, this is what Jim did. He called in and he said, look, I'm a former Catholic, now atheist, and I got a question for you religious folks. Why do you believe in God? Help me understand how somebody believes in God. Now, I'm going to put some words in Jim's mouth here, and I'm hoping that they're right, but I'm just sort of guessing on this. Jim's saying, I used to do that stuff. But I've realized and I've come to the conclusion that it's better to believe that there's not a God than that there is one, and that's a better way to think about the world and to think about nature and to think about people. And I've concluded that this God-believing business is less probable for me and less doable for me than believing in God. So I'm interested to hear, why does somebody believe in God? So I'm going to start with my explanation. And it's the right on. And here was going to be the right on for the day. The right on today came from me actually watching. Some of you know I begin this segment with a little song with Bruce Springsteen in it because I get a little man crush on the guy. So I got this Bruce Springsteen thing going, and he's quite encouraging to me, and I like him a lot. And Jon Stewart narrated his video for winning the Kennedy Center Honors of 2009. He was one of the inductees into the Kennedy Center Honors, whatever that means. You know, they just sort of recognize this achievement of someone, sort of a life achievement award. And in the little video, which I linked to on my Facebook page and at the radio Facebook page, so you can head on over there if you want to see it. There's this comment that he makes where he says, Bruce Springsteen doesn't just sing, he testifies. He testifies about something being. He puts words around the desire that he has for something, and that's what I like about it. So that's why in this we begin and end this segment with this refrain of this Bruce Springsteen music. Well, when I think about someone calling and asking, or someone asking a friend, or someone writing on a website and saying to somebody, "Hey, why do you believe in God? Where does this God belief come from? How do you do it? How can you maintain it? What makes all of this make sense?" That is a great and significant question. The thing is, for people who believe in God, I have to tell you that most of us who believe in God didn't make a choice to believe in God. It's just there. Now, look, I know that that's not helpful for people who are not predisposed to believe in God, or they've given it up intentionally, to hear somebody else say, I don't know. All I can tell you is I do. Because I think that anybody who has a belief system put together, they can give story about how it's maintained. They can give story about why they still hold to it. And I'll do that here in a minute. But truthfully, most people who believe in God, it's just there. Now, I wasn't raised in a family that pushed religion. I was raised in a family where we were free to believe whatever we wanted to. My dad didn't articulate any specific belief in God at all. We didn't go to religious classes. We didn't go to a church. I'd never been in a church building in my life. It wasn't indoctrinated into me from outsiders. It was something that came out of me. I had this sensibility that there was a God. I never actually questioned it. Now, what I have questioned regularly, and I've written books about this, that's not metaphorically, really have written books about this, and you can buy them over at DougPagittRadio.com. I've written books about this. The kind of God that I was introduced to within religion is one that I struggled with greatly. The notion of there being a God that controls all things, that has a list of requirements for people, that is growing in angst and frustration with people, that has punishment to dole out, that wants people to behave in certain ways, that is continually frustrated. This kind of notion of a God that functions like that, I don't believe in and never have. My sensibility of believing in God is much more trying to put words around a reality that I experience. that the sense that God exists somehow in this world feels like it has been with me for all time. I couldn't stop believing it any more than somebody who struggles with faith in God and belief in God could just on the spot start believing in it. So I understand very deeply the stress and the struggle that people who don't believe in God have, especially when they hear other people talk readily and freely about God. Because they say, I just can't believe it. I've tried and I can't get there. Then they meet somebody who does believe in God, and that person's like, I can't not believe in God, so I don't know how to ever stop. I could never lose that belief, that orientation. I might get frustrated with the thoughts I have about God. I might get frustrated with the belief system that I've been trying to hold together, and I need to change that, and I feel in angst all the time, and sometimes I wonder if I'm delusional. But all the people I know who are just as confident in their own lived experience that there is no God also have these moments of wonder and all that. So we're in the same experience as we're in the same experience. Those who believe in God readily and those who don't believe in God readily are having the same experience, that they're trying to then put words and ideas and confidence around that experience that they're having. So I like to say that whether one believes in God or doesn't believe in God, they find great commonality with the person of the other persuasion because they've come to these conclusions very often through similar rationale. And that is, it's just there. Now, I happen to think that the world is made up in such a way, and we are spiritual connected beings in such a way, and that we're living out something of life and beauty and hope and goodness and all that makes life wonderful and worth living. I think that all of that is because there is a life to the universe, because that life is personal, because that life is something that we're called into and that we're transformed and that we're changed. Now, I know people who don't believe in God and they also believe in that life force, and I put that life force, and for me it comes in the story of Christianity and the story of Jesus, and I think that it plays it out best. But to those who wonder, to Jim who called in, to other people who have been thinking about their own belief in God, none of us draw conclusions out of some rational calculation. What we tend to do is to put reality and rational calculation around the lived experience that we have. So we try to begin this segment and end this segment with an encouragement that there's something that's right on in the world. And I think people who are questioning, who are wondering, who are testifying, who don't just sing songs, but that they testify about life and belief in God, and those who testify in their struggle with it, that we all find ourselves in similar places in all of this, and that we're not enemies with one another, we're not antagonists with one another, we are co-travelers with one another, streams crossing to the point that we can empathize, that we can understand, that we can learn, and that we can know. And that those for whom faith comes regularly, we testify, I believe that God is. And those who say, I can't believe, that they say, I believe that God isn't. And we say that to each other, in love with each other, and in community with each other. And that seems to be the thing that's going to produce something better in all of us. Doug Pagitt Radio, religious radio that's not quite right, AM 950, DougPagittRadio.com.